You're listening to Chem Stories, a podcast series created by people with lived experience of PNP chemsex.
Hi cuties, this is Captain Patrice speaking from the flight deck of Chem Stories Airlines. We're now in the second part of our YYZ Wisdom Flight. Toronto host Bradley resumes the conversation with Matthew and Reid. Our flight plan forecasts discussions on how their experiences with incarceration and the justice system have uniquely shaped their perspectives on life and relationships within the world of PNP chemsex. Should you experience turbulence while listening to this podcast, please visit our list of resources and services related to PNP chemsex in the episode description and on chemstories.ca. Thank you for choosing Chem Stories Airlines, where the journey is always a trip.
So, incarceration, if you don't mind talking about it, because I know that you both have very different paths and very different experiences with incarceration and that the impact of that experience on you. If you are comfortable sharing a little bit of it.
Sure. Mine started with playing with someone who had played with before, PNP, chemsex. We'd been playing all night. He'd had a couple of showers. We had something to eat. We'd played again.
He got someone up on his phone. Thought it'd be kind of cute to have a third, you know? That new guy seemed cute.
Old chestnut.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
So the new guy
the
came
kid was
over.
Cute and came over.
We smoked a little Tina.
We smoked a little bit.
The first guy
he
just
fell asleep. Not the kid,
So,
the other guy.
I mean,
So
with the new guy
kids
being
there,
there,
so we played until
8:30 in the morning. Then he left to go to work.
And he left.
The first
to go
guy
to
finally
work.
woke up
And the other guy
and
woke
asked where
up.
the new guy
and
was.
I asked where
I
he
just
was.
said,
He said he left.
He left. That new
So he
guy
went and
seemed
had a
cute.
shower, started packing his
Yeah,
bag,
that old chestnut.
got dressed.
So
and
the
then
new guy
laid down
came
again.
over.
I said, you do
We
have
smoked
to
a little
go
Tina.
soon because I have
But
to
the
go
first
to
guy
myself.
just fell asleep.
No, I have to stay till 11. I said,
So,
no, you have to
I
go before
mean,
10.
with the new guy being
I
there,
have to go to work.
we played until 8:30 in the
And
morning.
about a quarter to 10, there's
Then he left to go to
very
work.
loud knock at my door.
The first guy finally woke
So-
up and asked where the new guy
They
was.
put on some shorts
I
and
just
t-shirt.
said,
Just can't go to the door the way it
"He
was.
left."
And there were two
Um,
police officers at my door.
Are you Reid? Mentioning my full name.
And on his cell phone, he had the thing that I had sent to this guy a long time ago as to how to get into the building, come up to this floor, turn left, da-da-da-da. I said, yeah, that's me. Why? Do you have so-and-so here? I said, no. Do you have someone living with you? And I went, no. I have someone here with me, a friend. Yeah, so-and-so. I said, no, his name is XYZ. He said, no, sir. Where is he? I said, well, he's in the bedroom. Why? Well, you need to tell him to get his stuff, get his clothes, and come out here. I went in, told him to get his stuff, get his clothes. There's a policeman at the door. And he wasn't showing any signs that he actually, was worried about this, which was kind of wrong. But, I'm still a little high, so cognitive impairment was there. When I came back, two officers took him down my hallway, and we have cameras in our hallway. And the other two took me, turned me around, and handcuffed me. I said, what are you doing? They said, oh, we had a report that he was being kidnapped and that you were unlawful confinement.
That's serious.
Very serious. I didn't know that because I'd never heard it before. And they started questioning me and said, and I said, no, he's been here all night. We've been playing, da-da-da-da. So the other cop came back up and said, no, sir, we have to go to the police station. You're under arrest. And they read me the whole kit and caboodle about what it can say, da-da-da-da. And I'm standing in shorts and a t-shirt. I said, well, I guess I need some shoes and some keys and I need a wallet. Yeah, but you can't go back inside without us. I said, well, you can't search my house because you don't have a warrant. That was some reason that went into my head.
Smart.
So the nice one went with me because one was bad cop, good cop. He went with me. I put on my shoes, no socks, showed him where my jacket was, told him where my keys were. He said, well, we're keeping your keys and we'll bring an officer to sit at your door while you're gone. So here I'm in a jacket, a shirt, shorts, shoes. That cop kind of asked me all these questions and he would be behind me and I would turn around to talk to him because it's polite to do so. Don't look at me. Just turn the other way every time. I'm still standing in my hallway at this point. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning. So they take me down to the police car, throw me in the back, which is very uncomfortable when you've got handcuffs on. Drag me to the police station on one of the divisions downtown. I'm brought in, put down on a chair. They stand each side of me. The deputy officer stands far away from me, starts reading me all my rights. And do you understand what the charges are? I said, I don't understand anything, actually. He said, well, give me all the charges. And he said, well, you're going to tell us? I said, no, I'll take house counsel, please. And he said, well, you're a Canadian citizen. Da, 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 da. I said, no, I'm not. And I thought, don't ask any more questions. So I had to be searched again, because at my house, they'd taken the shoelaces, the thing out of my hoodie, my belt, all that had been left at my house. And he put me up against the wall, my head against the wall, my hands up, kicked my feet apart. This is the not so nice one. And started searching me down. And then he got the elastic of my underwear and pulled it. He said, what is this? And the other guy goes, it's a jock strap. And he just let it go. Exactly. So then the duty officer said, well, we have to put you in here. And the nicer of the two cops go, but because I wasn't going to take my shoes. He said, you can't go in there bare feet. Go, do we have socks? So he got me a pair of socks and he put me in this room. And this room is just a square room. Table is anchored to the floor. Chair is anchored to the floor, but they're not even close. I still don't know what's happening. And about, I don't even know what time it was. And they asked me, I said, I'm a diabetic. I really do need some juice or something because I didn't get to take my meds this morning. That's fine. So they put me in another room, similar room, same situation. Still, I don't know what time it is. I said, time is just not passing by, whatever it was. Then I get put in this soundproof room, which I didn't understand. But technically, it was the duty officer or the duty counsel calling into me through a speakerphone. And asked, have you said anything? No. Then you don't say anything, you don't talk to me. But we are telling you that you probably will go before the judge this afternoon to get bail. I go, what? So I'm still standing in this room. Another one comes and gets me, puts me in another room. So it's 4 rooms inside this time period. I still don't know what's going on. Nobody said anything. I'm not saying anything. So this other cop comes along and goes, I'm sorry, we have to put you in jail today because you may not go to court this afternoon, maybe tomorrow morning. I'm thinking, and through my head, I'm going, okay, I don't have my phone. Nobody knows that I'm gone. How do I get bail? How do I sort this out? This is all going through my head. Why is this, what is going on? I told the universe, or asked the universe, that I would stop doing meth if I got out of there free.
Oh, you negotiated.
I negotiated it. And that's the only thing that kept me in that 4 hours. I kept saying, I will stop. I will stop if I get out of here.
Why? So why stop? Like, why?
Because that was the cause of why I was there.
Because that's why he had come over.
Yeah, that's why he came over. That's why we had played. And that's why he had the psychosis and thought that I was. And something in my head also told me, because normally if somebody says they want to be tied up, it's the first thing, no problem, I'll do that for you. I would not tie him up.
Oh.
There was something that just did not feel good about that part. I just did not go there with him. Had I been, I probably would have
Jesus, if you had.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he did overturn things in my bedroom, and I didn't know that until I got back.
I was going
to show us kind of a struggle. He left his pipe. He left which he had not used all night.
He assembled a crime scene.
Yeah. Yeah. Turned fans over, upset the bed. Which I didn't know until I got back. Because I wasn't allowed back in that. But yes, I had promised the universe that I would stop. Meanwhile, the other guy is upstairs being interviewed by detectives, which I didn't know, actually. I'd only found out when I got back that my friend down the hallway had actually come up to find out what was wrong. And the police officer said, oh, he's inside just helping us with their inquiries. I was not in my apartment at all. So nobody knew where I was. Nobody knew what was happening. Just that I was in there. Maybe somebody had died or something. I was helping them with that. It must have been lunchtime because they were all screaming to have something to eat. It was very loud, very obnoxious. So this sandwich and this can of juice gets thrown underneath the door, not even through a hole, or just slides it under the door. You've got a cement bed, you've got the high ceilings, you've got a toilet I wouldn't even have touched to go to the bathroom in. So this guy comes to the door all dressed, very sophisticated, and he goes, "You so-and-so?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Would you like to tell me what happened?" I said, "No, are you my duty counsel?" He said, No, I'm the detective who's been talking to the other guy. Let me explain to you. And then he gave me the explanation. We've talked to him and it was a misunderstanding on his part. You are free to go. Would you like to tell me what happened? Well, I said, sure. I had no qualms about telling that I'd done meth because I was not sure what he was telling them. I thought I better tell the truth. I better be honest here because I don't know what he said. And if I say, no, I wasn't, and he says, yes, we were, there's this conflict, right? So I couldn't go right away because the other guy had to come with my key from my house. He was at my apartment, the other policeman. So I had to wait for that length of time. So it was about 4 hours that I was there. They said, your time to go. So they walked me out to the front gate and said bye. And that was it. So I phoned my friend and she goes, are you okay? I've been trying to get hold of you. I said, yeah, I'll explain to you later. I've just got out of jail.
How'd you get home?
I walked. I had to walk.
In socks?
Yeah, I had to walk. I just couldn't come down and just sort myself out and realize this has actually just happened to you. So I got home and she doesn't know the whole truth. She just thinks it was somebody who came that I was dealing with that was homeless, that had caused this whole conflict. She didn't know about the drug part of it and doesn't know about that part. The first person, one of the people I told was you, and another person was one of the other people we've spoken to. So it was just, I needed to tell somebody. I didn't need to have anybody say to me, oh, let's fix that, or let's go and do this, or let's go and do that. I just needed someone just to listen. Yeah. That could understand. Every time after that, if there was a police car at our building, I panicked. If the police car came up beside me, I panicked. In the car, if I was driving the car and the police car came up beside me, I panicked. And lucky enough, my friend understood that when I said, is there a police car beside us? And she went, yes. Are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm okay. But are they looking at? No. And I still have that little thing happening when I see them or they're at their front door. I mean, if it was someone I didn't know and I'd only played with for the first time, I would understand, but I had played with this person 3 or 4 times. I then found out a week later from somebody else in my building who knew somebody else that he'd been very happy telling this whole story about how he sent someone to jail and that he's done it before. They didn't know who it was. He just said the certain person from this building, but when they put 2 and 2 together, they got who it was.
What's your experience with going to jail? How'd you end up there?
I went to jail 4 times. I was crazy, right? Like that has to be taken into account. I thought I was a Dominican priest on a holy mission in Northern Ontario to rebuild some sort of world game where they had these large pillars that you had to go up and touch, and they were all over the world. And I was supposed to rebuild one in Northern Ontario, and I had no idea how to do it, but it was all I could think about for months. I was crazy. I broke into my grandmother's house twice.
How come?
Because my dad had took my key. And he was like, you can't be here anymore.
What did you want that was in the house?
Oh, I was getting messages off channel 64 and 65 off the television, which was like static. I was done.
And what were they saying to you?
It was more of the Registrar General kind of nonsense talk. I during that period in time, I may have thought I was a maestro of some repute.
But from an outsider's perspective, what did they think you were doing?
They thought I was crawling in. Who, my parents?
Or your grandmother or whomever.
Oh, they thought if they had every time that they didn't see me, that I had crawled into a crack house and was like doing crack and other assorted drugs in just a drug-fueled kind of whatever. I was left to wander in the cold, schizophrenic, not being able to communicate. I couldn't communicate with a drug dealer to be like, hi, I'd like drugs. That wasn't going to happen. That didn't happen until I got to Toronto, and the relationship I had with the drug dealer was unhealthy.
And you were still having this disordered thinking with the...
Yes. Anyway, so incarceration, the 4 jails. The longest time I was in prison was for 383 days. I spent in the West. I had been arrested after an incident of HIV non-disclosure. The people I turned to for help when I tested positive. So I ran away from Sudbury, got to Toronto. Well, got my results. It was my birthday. Got my results. Ran away to Toronto. Ended up at old friend's house that I knew from when I was a student at the University of Toronto a few years earlier. They just saw me as a sexual object who was there for a good time that weekend. We watched a movie. Before I knew it, I had one of them in my mouth and one of them's mouth on me. The next day, they confronted me about my status.
How did they find out about it?
Because I had said something that I had got my results earlier in the week. I thought I had explained everything on the phone when I had said I was going to head their way because I was in Barrie after having hitchhiked from Sudbury to Toronto.
Oh.
Yeah. It was.
So they confronted you?
They confronted me, said they were going to the hospital. We started walking down the street to get to the streetcar stop.
All 3 of you?
All 3 of us. I hopped a taxi cab. I just turned around. They were just saying horrible things about me. Like
Oh, this is on their way. The 3 of you are walking, and that's when they started turning on you.
Yes. And I just stopped, turned, saw that there was a taxi cab, hailed the taxi cab, got in the taxi cab, and drove back to the bus station and came back to Sudbury.
And then how did you, what did they do?
I had, there was a domestic dispute between me and my boyfriend in Sudbury a few weeks later, where the cops were called because we were in a shouting match. And my little old lady, landlady, was like, no, you can't be loud. You must be quiet. And she just called the cops on us. So the cops ran my name and they found out I had been charged in Toronto.
With
2 counts of aggravated assault.
Sexual assault, though?
No, aggravated assault.
Is aggravated? I thought the non-disclosure were a sexual.
There's discretion as to what they can charge you with, as to what they think they're best capable of proving in court.
Okay.
I think the threshold for aggravated assault is lower than the threshold for sexual assault.
Yeah.
But so I ended up being transferred to Metro West from Sudbury in a bus, chained to the floor in an orange jumpsuit.
And then what happened when you got to the West?
I was put on a range.
What does that mean?
It's a group of cells in a jail.
Oh, so it's not a field with cows and
it is not a field with cows.
That kind of range. Obviously.
There were 20 cells on my range. Each cell had 2 men. When we were overcrowded, the cells had 3 men. 1 on the floor. I read everything that came through the range for about 10 months. I read everything. That's what I did. Novels. I remember reading Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides.
One of my faves.
And I remember reading Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray because it was a big Penguin classic. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this Penguin classic. But I had been like speed reading for months by the time I picked it up. And I just kind of jumped into it and like did it.
Did you do drugs in jail?
No. I didn't do the jail for me was an entire experience based solely on mental health
And HIV.
and HIV. Like, I didn't start drugs until I moved to Toronto when I was 30, and I ended up in jail when I was 25
And you ended up in jail for?
for HIV non-disclosure.
Oh.
That's the way that worked. I wasn't on drugs. But I was released into homelessness, which did not help, because that just like progressed through 4 years of homelessness in Sudbury. And then once that was untenable, I had to move to Toronto.
So when did the drug start? When did you start?
When I hit the street in Toronto.
Right. And how did that happen?
Oh, I was living in bathhouses. So it just ended up being part of the narrative as to what was happening around me.
And what did you think of it? Was it part of the fabric, or did you go, oh, this is something like what did you think of the drug use?
I participated. I let other people make decisions for me, and their enthusiasm about what they were doing was contagious. I was very unwell. I know I'm using that right now as an excuse for my behavior. Kinda, but like, that's the reality of it. I was really unwell. Yeah. Before I started using drugs. And that just compounded things once it started. So.
How is it to hear each other's stories? Because Matthew isn't a stranger to you.
Mm-hmm.
Does it change anything?
Yeah. That's what I was scared of. Ending up in jail. It's not a fantasy for me. I know a lot of people would think that, oh yeah, fantasy. It's not. It was not ever a fantasy for me.
Well, I think even the fantasy and the reality are...
Yeah, but for a lot of people, though, even the reality, even when they get there, it's like, oh yeah. But, and being deported back home and having to explain why I was being sent back home.
The fear of having to do that.
Well, I would have to disclose I was doing drugs. I'd have to disclose I was HIV positive to my parents or my family. And also, I don't know, it sounds funny, but also disclose that I'm gay because they know none of that. I've never come out. We talked about this morning. I've never actually come out to say I'm gay to my family. I've just been me. My nephews and nieces kind of go, yeah, unconscious, just, we understand.
Yeah.
That's all they've said.
Sure.
And we still love you. That's all. But I've never actually, even when I've always said, if somebody asks me, yes, I will tell you the truth. But nobody's ever asked me. I mean, I've always been a sissy all my life, so it's never changed anything.
Oh, I love it. So. Matthew, how is it to know this personal information about each other?
As a hardened criminal, I think that is not my experience. There was no my story. There was no deviation from the fact that they were going to prosecute me. It was also at 2005 was an era where they were still prosecuting HIV non-disclosure, and they were doing it at a level that was unprecedented.
And for almost over a decade afterwards.
Right? What they did was they held me indefinitely and told me that the prosecution was seeking expert witnesses. That was the line that I got for pretty much the entirety of my stay in prison.
What was it like when, if you'd want to talk about it, have you ever seen those guys again?
Oh, the two guys who sent me to prison? Yes, in the street.
And did they see you?
Yes, saw me, recognized me, and burst into tears.
Both of them?
One of them.
And were they together? And
no,
what?
just one of them.
Oh.
But saw me, recognized me, and burst into tears. Just like, ah.
Did he come to you and...
no, walked past me. Didn't stop. But it connected, locked eyes, and then burst into tears, and then kept walking.
How'd that make you feel?
It was weird to have that effect on people. I think they realize their actions now in hindsight.
I hope so.
Were very one-sided, right? I don't think that I was the last young guy that came into their house where they tried some sort of sexy time scenario with them. I think that's what they were doing. I think that was one of them or both of them would try to connect with young guys, and they would bring them into the house, and then they would share. That was what they saw a healthy gay relationship as.
Your tone. Not that this is funny, but as queers as we do this, we find comedy in every nook and cranny of our stories, which is one thing I love about both of you and the community.
Attention all passengers, Captain Patrice speaking. We've reached our cruising altitude. We're now approaching the third leg of our YYZ wisdom flight, where Toronto host Bradley resumes his conversation with Matthew and Reid about how sex and substance use have shaped their lives and identities. More compelling stories await. Subscribe to stay updated. If you've encountered turbulence while listening to this podcast, please refer to our list of resources and services related to PNP chemsex in the episode description and on chemstories.ca.